The characteristic of the opera is this three-dimensional, that it's in the room, that you can feel it on your body and on your skin, on your bones. You feel it like till to your bones. And this is the characteristic. It's life.
Martina, it's so great to see you again.
Yes, for me also. Good morning. I'm very happy to see you. And how is the weather in Vienna?
It's very hot. I'm sitting with a fan.
Ah, nice. No, here no fan, but outside it's also
very
a bit hot.
Where are you based exactly?
In South Tyrol.
Okay.
So next to Bolzano.
Wonderful. Yes. And but the last time we spoke really on Zoom was during lockdown, or it was just after lockdown, and so many things have happened. And
yes.
How much did things change for you after the whole pandemic?
Well, I lost some connection, but I had much more connection at home, for example, because I was forced to stay here for so much time. So in some sense, it was good because I could work a bit more with my contacts here, and I get the chance to also to teach in the music university of Bolzano, Hochschule. And so I'm very happy, and also made a lot of concerts here in my region. And so also my fans from here, which know me from the beginnings, were very happy.
Yeah.
And then slowly also the international things started to come again. And for example, we could finally perform this wonderful opera, which is Edith Cavell in Malta, and which was brought again to the world by the maestro Dario Salvi and his researches, because one act was lost and he found it again. Mm-hmm. And so it was very wonderful project. Mm-hmm. And I was so thrilled because I loved this woman, because she was really passionate nurse, and sacrificed her life in order to save all her patients, and also started and organized first schools for nurses. And she was very brave and very hardworking woman. But unfortunately, as she saved so many soldiers during the First World War, she was accused to be a spy, and then she was killed by the German police at the time. But then it was not such a good idea, because they used her then very much for the propaganda, because it was very heartbreaking that they kill a nurse. And so, I mean, it was not a very clever idea. I think doing so, it was even more famous what she did, and her actions, and so they wanted to eliminate her, but doing so, they even made her more famous and more strong, maybe in some kind of sense. But yes, at the time they used the people also very much for, I mean, when there are wars, it's easy to get used by the one or the other. And even if you are not guilty or or you're trying to do your best. But
how important is it for you to understand the character, or to if you are so passionate about, because when you talk about her, I can sense, that it's something really that you can feel. So is it then easy for you to to sing the role?
Yes, I usually try to study if it's a historical plot, if it's a historical opera, if there was a really existing person behind the role. And that's very interesting. And then I try to find if there are different versions of her biography, of the story. And in that case, the opera was written really close to the facts. So it was really a contemporary person almost. And that was very interesting. So it was really about, and the composer in the opera, they concentrated a lot on her fate. So it's there are a lot of talks to God and to aspects where she speaks about her fate and trust in God. So they focus very much on this kind of values she had, so that she almost seems a nun finally.
Really?
I mean, in this plot, more than a nurse, but she had a life kind of nun, because she had no children, she had she did not marry it, and she was caring basically about her parents. So when she also is executed, before her execution, her only regret is really that she will leave alone her mom, but not about herself, because she sees it like her mission to help people, and she trusts in God, and she's convinced in the opera she speaks like that she will soon go in the hands of God, and she did all what she had to do. So she's really has a very, very strong faith, and also that is makes the opera very, very touching and very spiritual work. Yes, she's not like in some operas you have this passionate woman. It's usually about love scene, and they fall in love with the tenor or things like that. In this opera, she's really like a heroine, a saint almost. So she's very trusting in God, and not so much involved, and she does not understand this what the people do all these bad things for her. She is chosen just to heal people and to do good, and she says God will forgive them, as he will always do, but I have to go on and show them what's right, and because they also offer her in the opera the possibility to be saved in exchange, to tell the names of all the people she wanted to help, because between them there are also, of course, people who work against the Germans. But she refused to collaborate and to blame others. She said, I am not involved in this. I just help if someone comes and brings me blessed people. I don't care whether they are German, Belgian, French, or English, or whatever they are. For me, they are just only old people. And of course, in the opera, there is also the other hero. There is a man, but he is representing as the Belgian people who want to get freedom. And he is more the political aspect, and he speaks more about this kind of things of the. But she seems not so. She sees. She wants freedom for everybody, so not just for Belgium. So of course she prefers to have people who want to make people free than people who want to make them, to conquer them. And so that's very clear. But you cannot understand in the opera really if she is involved or not in this spy stories or things like that. There is another woman, the mezzo soprano, and she is really a spy, and she works for the Germans. So she tries to seduce the Belgian revolutionary men, then to catch him. And but as they saw him together with Edith, then also they catch also her. But they in the opera they think they can have more information from her.
Okay.
And but she gives no information.
Isn't it amazing that this is a very deep story, really, and but that
very
that
sad also.
Yeah, sad, but that the music must also add to this feeling, to this whole story, and how amazing that it's an opera.
Of course, opera. I think it's the best form for this kind of very dramatical and strong feelings, and especially heroic feelings, because the opera transmits you this enormous courage. Both these people have. I mean, she has it because she has the strong. She's strong because she trusts in God. And the man is the revolutionary man is strong because he trusts that he is saving his people, his country. So for two different reasons, but they are very, very strong and ready to give their life for these bigger ideals and for other people. Really, they are really not the kind of selfish people, whereas the other character, the mezzo soprano, does it for money. But then also there is a change of mind also in her, that she feels then very guilty to have done such things just for money. And she kind of falls also a bit in love of the revolutionary man, which then she's a bit sorry that it was for her that they catch him and then put him in prison. So with her help, no? So it's about these characters. And then also there is the priest when he comes and visits her in the prison before she dies. And also there is a very lovely duet, and where they rely both on God, and it ends really. Before, there are very dramatic moments, really operatic, with big orchestra, big chorus. There is a wonderful, lovely choir of the women, of the nuns, which sing, and then at the final, she goes to that really calm, with a deep calm. And that's really not so typical, because usually when it comes to the death scene, then it's the most dramatic scene. But it's as if she would be already transfigured.
Okay.
And then when she's shut down, then the orchestra starts again and is very dramatic and makes a really heartbreaking final.
I get goosebumps just by you telling the story. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, you have to watch it, to hear it, to listen to it. And it is really a masterpiece. I did not know also about this composer. It's Paolino Vassallo, and he's from Malta. That's why we performed it in Malta. And he was really when he was in life, he won a lot of prizes. He was a really talented musician, and he could have been much more famous and had many offers around the world. But he chose to go back to his town, to La Valletta, and to offer to his people what he learned around in the world, and to be a teacher and to organize the high school there for the music university. And so he met. He chose to have a bit more calm life instead of traveling around all the time. But he had the possibility. He had really already many relations with musicians everywhere in the world, wonderful reviews and everything. But maybe he was preferred to stay in, also Malta is a lovely place, and they needed him maybe more there than around. And because there was not so much already going on in the musical life, and so he brought all this to his town. And there was also a wonderful theater there, which was then when it was distracted, they left some parts of it, and it's now the Teatro Real where we performed. So they left some columns, some broken walls, and made a stage, an open air stage of it. So it was not in Teatro Manuel, it was in Teatro Real, where really once upon a time there was the ancient theater there. So,
that's amazing. But you said part of the opera disappeared.
Till the maestro Dario Salvi discovered it. So because the nurse came from Greenwich, and there was a wonderful couple there, Jeannie and Nick Miller, and they work there for the church, and they are they organize, and they are the administrators and presidents of the Edith Cavell Foundation, and they take care about all her memories, all her souvenirs, all her stories, photographies. In fact, now they are planning also a movie about her.
Wow.
And there are already many movies about her, but in modern times not yet. And so they really, their mission is to bring on the memory of this wonderful woman. And they discovered that there was this opera, but with this missing act. And so they made many advertisements around the world.
Really?
If someone could maybe find it in some library or somewhere. And this conductor, the Maestro Dario Salvi, which lives in England, he read this, and then he started researching because he was so enthusiastic about this story. and about this project, and also living next her hometown of the nurse. And then really he in a dream, it had to be. He really found it, and so then they started organizing to bring the opera back in modern times, because it was performed only in the times where it was written, and then
I see.
yeah, and never more. And so we hope all that it will be performed again and again, because it deserves. It's really a lovely music. I mean, it's not like some kind of operas which maybe even if you forgot them, it's not such a loss. But this is really wonderful music, and also you can hear that's really Vassallo. That's not. It's not a copy of something else. It's he. I think he made really. Maybe he was also very fascinated by this woman, and that's maybe because why he succeeded to write such lovely music and such touching music. It's really touching. Very, like you said, you get goosebumps all the time. Yes, and it's written really for big orchestra, and so that maybe is the only. Yeah, you need the orchestra, you need the choir, you need the singers. Well, the big parts, solo parts, are this of the Belgian hero, the Edith Cavell, of course, the Charlotte, the spy, and the priest, and also then there is the German general, which is very like Iago kind character, like Scarpia, really the cynical and ambitious, powerful man. So there are all these contrasting people, and it's very, it's like you said, deep and strong. Yes.
I saw you and Dario together. I saw a picture of you on Facebook with Dario, and I did an interview with him also in lockdown. And I just couldn't understand how you two got together, because it's two different countries. Yes. And now I understand why. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, no. Like in my life, it's always about coincidences. So I met Dario in Oman at a Royal Opera House in Muscat because we performed there an opera on ice festival with a company coming from LA with big Olympic stars. Charlie Davis and Charlie White and Meryl Davis, and so they were like the stars of the show, and we singers were singing while they were dancing. And there was the Prague Philharmonic Orchestra playing, so it was really a wonderful project. They transformed all the stage of the Royal Opera House in a giant ice skating platform. Yeah, amazing, really amazing. Yeah. We had in the shoes we had like spikes not to slip on the ice.
Oh yeah, I can imagine on the ice.
Yeah. And we had to perform interacting with the dancers and with lovely costumes. And in this review, I had to sing Mimi from Bohème, Rosalinde from Fledermaus, and Hänsel Gretel, and also Violetta from La Traviata. And then after this experience, it went very well. The maestro asked me to make some recordings for the Naxos, for operettas from Johann Strauss, which were never recorded still.
Oh,
and so we made a world premieres from Blinde Kuh and from Waldmeister. And so we went on working together. And so then by working together, then he worked on this project from about Edith. And I mean, I am Italian, so I speak perfectly Italian, also German, because I live in South Tyrol. So I grow up with these two languages. And then he asked me if I would like to sing this role. And I was, of course, very honored, and I loved it. Yes. So, but we came together in Oman, really, and because of a friend of mine, Austrian tenor Alexander Kaimbacher, which gave my name to one of the organizers of this review, and but. Not for this project, but for Ninth of Beethoven in Cairo Opera House. But then also this lady was satisfied of my work, of my singing, and then she had this project with Royal Opera House in Oman, and then she brought me also there, and then I met Dario, and then yes. So it's always about going around, and then if people listen to you and they like it, they maybe propose you something else or something they think it fits you. So I was very lucky.
Yeah, but that's the freelance career, isn't it? Or the freelance life. You have to be there.
Yeah. So that's why the pandemic was catastrophe.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because sitting at home, nobody will hear you. I mean, also now in Naples, I sang. They gave me a prize for a woman which can transform their passions in their career. And then some people listened to me, and these people had connection with the San Carlo Theater. And so last week it came that I sang for the 800th birthday of one of the oldest university, the Federico II University of Naples. And so that was and it was sent in streaming as well, and I could sing the Visi d'Arte on the stage of the San Carlo. It was really wonderful, a very big emotion, because it's one of the most beautiful theaters in Italy, and with a wonderful acoustic. So, and for such an important event as well. So, but also by a coincidence.
But it's a career, a singing career it's really a long career, in the sense that you have to sing certain roles before you can sing the next role. So you have to be reach a certain maturity in your voice to be able to sing specific roles. So do you think nowadays there's a rush? Do you think young singers are being pushed into roles that they're not ready for?
Yes, absolutely. I see many, now that I'm also teacher and professor, I see it even more. But I see it also in theater, when I see some of my colleagues or I go to listen to others. I see that there are more and more people who have really problems with the technique, the basic technique, and they force and they shout or they have also the inverse, or they have very small voices because their throat is so closed and they are not able to sustain on the breathing. The cantare sul fiato and cantare in maschera, and these classical things you have to do, which are also typical for the Italian opera singing, which is, from my point of view, the most effective. So with very few energy, you have the maximum of the result. And the voice is clear, the diction is clear, and this allows you to be really expressive on stage. Because if you have problems with your voice, you are struggling that you don't reach the high notes or the low notes, or your diction is not clear, then you won't be able to move easily and free on stage, and you are not expressive at all. And so, I mean, it goes one with the other. So for me, in my opinion, they should again take much more care about their voices, because now really I hear really people which started to shout high notes, and people which in the lower register you can't hear them anymore. People who start put microphones with the excuse that this is operetta, but I mean the classical operetta, if you sing it really with sustained voice, you don't need a microphone. I mean, you need it if you are in a hall without acoustic or open air with really big square, then okay, it's justified. But for example, in a typical Italian theater, there is absolutely no need. It's crazy. I mean, also Arena di Verona, they sang all these years without microphones. So there are venues that are made for voices with sustained voices, with voce appoggiata in maschera, and then we say in Italian la voce corre, the voice runs. And so it's not kind of a big sound, but it's question of a clear sound, which is in the right channel, and this allows it to go in the room or in the hall and reach. It's like a physical effect that the more the hall is big, it becomes big in the hall. So it starts small and it becomes big in the hall. So and this is really magical, and also for who sings, also very nice feeling. So that's why certain singers, they get kind of dependent of the singing, because it's if you sing well, it's a nice feeling for the listeners. It's a nice feeling also for you singing. You feel really that you sing with the whole body, and you have the feeling it comes from alone, and that's wonderful. If you reach this, and then the rest of the work you make on the character on the stage with good stage directors, or even alone proposing your ideas, then you can reach really the public, and the public feels the emotions directly, and also the sound, and gets these goosebumps, and then they go, they will come again. That's the question also, because if they are shocked by people singing with with really extreme, tired, forced faces, which make them seem ugly. I mean, sometimes you see handsome man or one beautiful woman, and while they sing, they become so ugly and so oh my God, and this is a sign that something is not working very well. So we have to take care about this. Yes.
But what do you think is why do you think it's happening? Because it's it's sort of as if it's becoming a trend that the younger singers are getting the roles, and it's really supposed to be maturer roles, I think.
Yes. I think maybe it's a question also about money, because they maybe can, the younger people, they can have them for less money. And also maybe because of this, they want aesthetically the fresh looking people. For example, I was recently to a bohème. I also wrote a review about this bohème. And yes, they wrote down that they wanted specifically young people singing it, because in the opera it's supposed to be young people. But I mean, if the voice is not working, it seems an old voice, even if it's 25-year-old man or woman, because if it's like you seem, and then it's better maybe an older woman with a fresh, clean voice, and from outside it seems much younger. And also, if you move really free, you give the impression to be young. But if you are like rigid because you are afraid or not mature enough, you don't look young. You don't because from the public, what comes is the energy. The energy has to seem young. But if these young people have no energy, or their energy is blocked, because of course they have, but because of this wrong technique and of not having the time to find really the balance, they must force, no? And this brings on stage something completely different. It does not seem fresh. It does not seem young. It does not seem free. And so it's not that you just look at the age and that you don't have you have a very, like you say, no wrinkles. Now, I mean, also because from big distance in a theater, an opera theater, you don't see them like from next. And so what you get is the general not painting, the general
vision.
Picture.
So the picture,
and the sound, of course, and how they move, and that can be young or old, but it depends how they move. And so I had this experience that sometimes on stage I had colleagues which were much more older, but with solid technique, and that allowed them to be free and energetic. And from outside, they looked much more younger than younger colleagues which were struggling and forcing, and also because of this not moving freely. And so I think the people who choose the singers should be a bit more, maybe they are not so, they have not experience with opera. Maybe they came from movies, from TV, or they don't know, because theater is something else. It's live, so you have also to have singers, actors, which are used to perform. You go to the end. It's not like in movie or film that you can chuck 1, chuck 2, chuck 3, chuck 4, chuck 6, and then you have a good men who can put them together, and even if it's not so good, because of the good melting, it becomes really nice. So on stage, you are alone. You must be really effective and have a much bigger responsibility, and you have to be mature to really give a wonderful product. So even if the stage conductor has lovely ideas, but has interprets singers which are not ready, there is not so much about to do. If they're not ready for singing this role, if their voice is not ready, then also musically it will. Sometimes I listen to people next to me in the audience which tell me, which would be much better without singers, this music.
Really?
So this is really what should not happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because
but I think it's sometimes they underestimate the audience, because for an audience, so for me, I'm not a qualified musician, or I'm not qualified to give, say, a review, but I'm there as listening and taking and having the whole picture. And for me, I can sense even when somebody's struggling on stage. And I think it's also this energy from the audience to the stage, and the stage to the audience, So I think there is definitely energy, and people can sense each other.
Exactly. That's very, very good what you say, because if you feel that the audience is really listening with also with all the body, and really transported it in your story, also you feel like wow, then okay, then I want to do even better, and I feel also more brave and more relaxed, because I notice it works. It's working from the reaction. But if also for the young singer, if he feels it like he has nothing coming from the audience, then he will become even more rigid, and already he's rigid, and then he will starting force even more. And especially in this Italian opera, where there are often these arias with big climax point, where you have really to express this full, free and focused voice. And without this, the aria is like there is missing something. Then you notice it really a lot. It's really missing. They can make a wonderful scenography, wonderful lightnings. The orchestra can be the best, but this also is even worse, because you notice even more that the poor singer is not at the same level of the rest of the of the work of the professionals around.
Of course,
I mean, if it's wonderful staging, and then this singer in this staging is not managing to do what he's supposed to do. And of course the notes, if the voice it's also a question of diction, and this I think can be in schools much more yes, they have to take much more care about this. Because, for example, in Italian opera, if you speak very well Italian, you almost sing already. So in this case, but also the German language, if you, I had, for example, when I was studying, I won a scholarship at high school, Hochschule in Munich. And because I made also lead with Helmut Deutsch at the time. But I had the luck also to work with a singer who was Manfred Ball, and he explained me really how to pronounce German when I sing. And then from that moment, I had really like, wow, and it worked so fantastically. And also Maestro Deutsch said, finally you started to study.
Really?
But I because I had from the singer the right secrets to make it work, because you have to know how to do it, and this is a very technical thing which you have to train also, and then it becomes natural, and then you can really also German and Italian, I already was more prepared on that. And also German, you can really, like also Wagner, sing as if it would be bel canto very easily without shouting. And what's interesting, really making here the words, which especially in Wagner are so important also. And he made all this work with the consonants and which repeat in order to create some atmosphere. And so if they are swallowed and not spelled or disappear, it's not the same music, it's not the same drama. So and that I had a luck to work also with singers like Oskar Hillebrand, who is really fantastic, also Wagner singer. And also he was amazing because he was much older than the rest of the cast, but he was never tired. So
really,
yeah, and he was and after the operas, the party, he sang again and again, and his diction you could hear from the last row when he sang sax was and this captured your attention. So because you are in the story, because it's also theater, it's not just only music. The opera is really a very complex form. You have everything. It's theater, it's music, it's ballet sometimes as well. And also this, they are cutting so much. No, I think it's really a question of costs that they cut, but maybe not in the right on the right things. So maybe if they have less money, they should maybe do another opera or less expensive staging maybe, but not less good singers or or make them grow slowly as it was once upon a time, because also singers like Del Monaco or these old singers, they started with smaller roles, with also lighter roles. And then as the voice, also Tebaldi said about herself, first I had a silver voice, then it became a gold voice, because becoming more mature, learning how to place it in the body and to rely on the fiato, then the voice becomes bigger, more dramatic, but naturally, not because you force it or you make it artificially dark. Like today, many, they scuriscono, they make like they want to make it, yes, by holding here everything. But the question is, if you block here, you cannot feel the sustain on your breath. The more you are free, the more you are forced and can also feel the famous appoggio. And then when you are free, you can speak. You can really masticare il testo, how we Italians say. And that makes it very fascinating. And it makes every voice really free, so that also every singer has his personal voice, not imitation of this or that, because this is also the danger, no? That you become the copy of the copy of the copy. And so this is also not interesting for the public if there is no charisma, no personality. This is really not interesting. Also for me, when I'm in the audience, if I see someone even good, but like anonymous, and not transmitting me anything, then I'm bored, and then I don't come again. I go to some other kind of show. So we have to take care about this.
Just this morning, I read an article to say that authenticity has a higher vibration than love. It has about 400 times. Yeah, authenticity.
Wow.
And I actually read about it, and it's exactly what you're talking about now, that authenticity, that projecting who you are, that raises the vibration. And of course, young artists need to discover it, but it takes time. It takes time for them to realize who they are.
Yes. There are someone who already are very determined and free, and have this kind of character, and maybe they can do it already in young years. But most of the people really take time to discover themselves, to get rid of all the wrong things they learned as well. Because the question is, sometimes in this musical schools, universities, and theater as well, you don't always learn things which work on stage. And only on stage then you discover what works, what does not work. And in school, maybe you're a good student, you get wonderful high notes and everything, but then the real life is something else. And then the authenticity is what is important, because it's the reality, the authenticity.
Exactly.
And even if the theater is a play, but it has to seem and to be in that moment. It has to be real. And when it managed to do so, then the people are really, they're thrilled, they're happy, and it will be a big success. And it has to be all together, no? Because one alone, good, all the team, all the harmony between all the components, and that is also difficult. So difficult in an opera, because maybe you have the cast, and some people are wonderful, and when the orchestra plays with them, you are on this level of authenticity. Then comes the other, and you have this falling down, and this is not good. This creates already that puts you out of the story. You get distracted, and then it loses a lot the intensity of the evening. And this is not easy. It's not easy to find, also because sometimes there are not so much rehearsals, and already they start choosing people not because they are really perfect for the role, but for many other reasons. and so from it's even more difficult. But I saw also wonderful operas and had the luck also to sing with wonderful colleagues. And I have to say, the more the more the level is high, the much easier it is.
Really?
Because the better all the people are around you, the better it's also for you to give your best. It becomes so natural and so easy, really, and it becomes an immense joy for you and for the audience. It's really, these are the magical moments which are really, which make it worth to struggle and study and prepare and to risk and so on.
But a dancer just recently said to me that how important it is to learn from people who are established already in the industry, and you are also now talking about the advice you got from people who already achieved and who already went through the path.
Everything. And many years also, because
and
resist and get better and better, it means something. Because
and isn't that so important for young singers to learn from people like you, for example, or people who have been there, who have done all these things, so that they can also get these the information or the tips or the little secrets of the industry.
It's very important for them. And the problem is they have always less and less people who are around. And I had the luck that I have a teacher now. He's 87, 86, 80, yes, and he really was on stage with the old singers, and so that's they tell me stories which nowadays are completely lost. And I think for the singers nowadays, it's much more difficult, because there are no more so really experienced singers with really solid voice technique, and which had the chance to work also with wonderful stage conductors and great maestros, because the older colleagues tell me, even me, that they had so much more time to work, for example, with orchestra conductors, with the conductor himself. And nowadays you go in a theater and you have just staging rehearsals, at least in Italy, especially. And then the musical rehearsal is really just a few days. So you have not the time really to work with, even if it would be the most fantastic maestro in the world, the poor maestro has not the time and the hours he needs to really work properly. And if you listen also to the interviews of really famous singers, I mean, like Callas, when she had the chance to work with Georges Prêtre and with these conductors for hours on single arias, on single recitativi. Nowadays, for example, the recitativo requires a lot of work. And this kind of work is a bit they don't give you the time. And so a young singer, an old singer, experienced singer, maybe already did this work and can bring it in the show by himself. But a young singer who still has to learn this, he does not know from where he should learn it. So maybe he listens just to CDs, to recordings, but he does not know what's the best, and he gets confused and he imitates instead of making it his own role, and so he's not authentic and becomes just a copy. So it's not easy. It's not easy because before they had much more time and dedicated much more time, and it was not like you were sent like a package now from one opera to the other. Maybe sometimes I am in some productions, and there are especially tenors, because they are very appreciated, and as soon they start to sing a little bit good, they work a lot. But maybe they are in this production, and in the same time they are in two other productions with different kind of vocality also, and they have to travel also in the middle of rehearsals, and this is not for the voice. It's really dangerous. So, and they are kind of forced to accept, because not all the agents are old school, that they make you grow, but they just exploit you. And then there are others, and that's has become very hard. So it's all this kind of problems make it always more difficult to find a really complete, mature work, a show which is really wow from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe
because it's difficult. It's big. So many people involved, and expensive as well. That we have to remember that big operas cannot do it 2 euros. So also it needs sponsorships. Maybe they can make some rules to get more sponsors, to make again more trendy to become sponsor, or the countries, the cities could reserve a bit more money for the culture and invest a bit more. But of course, then you have to also to control and check that the money is spent very well, not just given to something which is not worth it. Then it's better spent not so much.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely.
So yes, because it's like if I buy a nice cloth, if it's made of a very precious tissue, I really like to spend the right money. But if it's just paper and not word, then it's not justified to spend all that money. So the quality should come back to authenticity, quality, matureness. And in case of opera, that takes time. It takes training. It's very like doing sport also. Also, the best singer to stay at his own level has to do his job daily, and not just think, yes, I'm famous and I go on without studying anymore. So it's not an easy job, even for the singers which are arrived and are already famous. It's you see the case also of the Callas, which lost then completely. When she come back, it seemed that she never had started studying singing. It was really moving and to tears when you hear how she ended, when she didn't study anymore and had then this also physically problems with health, of course, and I think also with her heart and with her soul. And it's so there are many factors. You have to be mature as a person, also to struggle with all this stress and emotions and success or insuccess, or people telling you different things every time, different directors maybe telling you opposite things. So you have to be centered, and that usually you get this at a certain age, no? Or you have to have someone next to you which you can rely, which takes this for you, a good teacher, like usually in the past, these singers had a person who followed them everywhere. For example, Pavarotti had his correpetitor and teacher, and he was learning by heart everything with him before he was ready then for stage. And these figures also are kind of missing nowadays. So these singers are alone, and with this enormous amount of work to do, and some of them at the half of the way they disappear suddenly. Now they start maybe wonderful because they have really the talent. They also talent vocally and also as actors, and then you see that they don't manage to resist and to go on, and that's a pity. It's a pity because already so much work was invested and so much.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it should grow constantly. Then it's a sign that's going in the right direction. Yes.
But maybe it's
Yes.
also this chain reaction, from the problem in the industry. These problems then almost in a way affect how the operas are being produced, how the theaters are, because everybody is saying, oh, but they have to get the young generation in the theater. But maybe it's because there's this the energy. It's this energy exchange of what's given is not really then that authentic, or it's it's like trying to produce something to get the audience, but rather than giving it as it should be, then the audience automatically will return. So you will rather return to an opera where you had a feeling, an emotion and everything, rather than do something quirky to get people in, but then they don't return. So I think it's this whole chain reaction of things that went wrong.
Yes, it can't be a bad copy of an opera, because otherwise people will prefer to go to a good movie.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
that's
to
true.
make an opera make it good is it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it takes time, and that they cannot do otherwise. That's cannot be done. It's cannot be a faked opera like fake video. They make now many fake videos about the fake opera. You notice it immediately from the first sound. If it comes or stays there like flat, then it's not the sense of the opera. It becomes like the screen of the video, then I prefer go to the movie, of course. The characteristic of the opera is this three-dimensional, that it's in the room, that you can feel it on your body and on your skin, on your bones. You feel it like till to your bones, and this is the characteristic. It's life. And also it's like watching also the sport in the television. It's not so the ballet. If you of course go to the theater, so it's much more beautiful. And then you notice who sings well and who sings not well, because in the video you can cheat a lot. But live, no. Live, you immediately can understand which voice is free, which voice is not free. And so maybe it's also this laziness that people maybe stay at home because it's and it's gratis, it's for free, But no, they should come and see how worth it is to spend also money to get these really strong emotions. If you go to a live production, to a show of an opera, and it's a good opera, then after you feel like you are so energetic that you can do all your jobs, and it gives you so much courage also for your personal life. For example, many times people after my shows came and told me, "Oh, I thank you so much. You gave me the energy to go on. I'm in a difficult moment now, but listening to your voice gave me kind of healing. And now I feel that I have this force also in me, this energy to go on and to get to handle what I have to do." Yes, and this is what happens also when you watch to good sportive men achieving a big result. You feel like that in us in the humans there is such a big force and energy, which if it's in the right channel and if it's trained and if it's supported by this great passion, we can really move the mountains. And
That's
this
true.
is what should give the opera instead of taking drugs or alcohol. Many people take such things which are not healthy at all and also expensive. To get the feelings, not to feel something, to feel alive. But if you go to a good show, you feel the same, but in a constructive way, without distracting you, and also learning things, because the story is also related to culture, to stories about people, which maybe if you see them on stage, you won't do the same error in your personal life. So the theater has also this really didactic value as well. So it's emotion, it's culture, it's learning, it's moving, it's giving you really energy, what you want more. So that should. But if they go and feel nothing, then they will tell, why I have to spend 250 euros for what? I go to a nice dinner and with a good glass of wine and I won't go to the opera. But no, usually then there are still wonderful operas, happily. So I hope the opera will resist and become again always good, not only certain shows and you have to select and good, there is this I don't go, there is this person I don't go, because if I have to listen to this shouting till the end, I will
you think you'd rather not.
My throat will get sore just by listening to certain. But it's beautiful, and sometimes there are also surprises. There are also young singers which are which have such a great feeling and instinct. So that I would tell the youngs, or sometimes it's better to follow your instinct than wrong advices. So really rely on what you feel inside. Try to become like a radar and feel the world, and then you will be also able to transmit the feelings even more to others. So being sensitive sometimes is hard, but it's worth it. Yes.
Good,
Yes.
But Martina, you've got such a lovely way of talking about opera that you make me enthusiastic. But tell me, what are the wishes for you still for the future?
What are the what?
The wishes.
The wishes.
Yeah.
My wish is to be always healthy and to
Yeah.
live as long as possible,
Mm.
because I'm in love with the life and with the music, with my job. And so that's my only wish. And then I am very faithful. I also trust a lot in God. So that's maybe why I could easily interpret Edith Cavell, because I also feel
Yeah.
this like connection to the spiritual life. And so I have always the feeling that God will bring us what we need if we are keep our eyes open, our heart open, our soul open. It's really, the more and more I go on and become older, I realize how much it's important to stay open, to don't become rigid, don't become closed. And sometimes when we learn things, when they want to educate us, kind of, they block us. So the real way to educate also now with students, with but also for personal life, is to become always more strong, more free, more authentic. So when you look for the authenticity, comes freedom, comes the strongness, comes the health also. Because if you are free to be yourself, you feel good.
Yeah.
If you have to, one is to perform a role on the stage, but if you have to perform always in life, and so maybe also the work with opera and working as an actor makes you aware, if you're really sensitive and honest with yourself, you realize when you are interpreting something, being an actor or being authentic. And then you become also a better actor, but you become also a more authentic person in your personal life. And that was very interesting for me. So that through acting, I become more authentic also in personal life.
And that makes sense. Yeah. I hadn't thought of that, but that makes complete sense.
Yes.
I heard a very lovely story. Well, it's really a sort of this woman said that we receive gifts every day, and the gifts are just in different packages. So maybe your car broke down, and it's if you just always see whatever happens as a gift, you will find the gift inside it, inside the package. So it might be, so it might be that, your car broke down, but somebody else came on your way and gave you some good advice or something. So if you go through life like that and always think there's a gift inside every package that we do, that we get.
And there is a reason for everything.
Exactly.
So, but it's not our rule to understand everything, because maybe they educated us a bit with this idea that we have to understand, to control. And no, it's inverse. You have to let yourself go. And even when you sing and you're able to let yourself go, it comes from alone. Everything is already written. And so it's really, sometimes we struggle too much. Have to learn to struggle less.
And maybe we want it to control everything too much, and we just have to let go and let it happen.
Exactly.
But Martina, this was so great to talk to you.
Yeah, it was the same for me.
I loved it. And I love all your, how you are in the industry and you can talk about it and you talk about your experiences. And it's wonderful. And I love your outlook on life.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for the invitation. And I
It's
hope
a
to
pleasure.
hug you soon in Vienna again.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Thank you. Very,
Martina.
very big kiss.
Oh, thank you so much.
Un bacio. you.